They say London never sleeps, but between midnight and dawn, when the tourist crowds fade and the Thames runs black as ink, there's a reason the locals won't cross Tower Bridge on foot. They know. They've always known. You see, there are things about this city that don't make it into the guidebooks. Secrets whispered in pub corners. Stories your Uber driver won't tell you. And if you're smart, if you value that comfortable illusion we call sanity, you'll laugh them off as folklore. Urban myths, the ramblings of superstitious minds. But tonight? Tonight I'm going to tell you the truth about Tower Bridge, and I promise you, after hearing this, you'll never look at those Gothic towers the same way again. This isn't some campfire tale. This isn't entertainment. This is a warning wrapped in a story, because sometimes that's the only way the truth can survive. So lock your doors, check your windows, and whatever you do, if you ever find yourself walking near Tower Bridge after dark, and you hear the sound of wings, run! Let me take you back to 1894. Tower Bridge has just been completed after 8 years of construction, a marvel of Victorian engineering, 2 massive towers connected by walkways, with a bascule bridge that lifts to let ships pass. Beautiful, isn't it? A symbol of British ingenuity and imperial power. But here's what they don't tell you in the museums. During those 8 years of construction, 11 workers died, officially anyway. Falls from great heights. Crushed by machinery, drowning in the Thames, the usual toll that progress demands, right? Except there were rumors. Whispers among the workforce that the numbers didn't add up, that men would go down into the underground chambers, the machinery rooms deep beneath the bridge, and simply never come back up. Their families would be told there was an accident, a body swept away by the current, lost to the river. Convenient. Now here's where it gets interesting. Just a few hundred meters away sits the Tower of London. You know it, right? That ancient fortress where kings imprisoned their enemies, where queens lost their heads, where the walls have soaked up so much blood and suffering that even the stones seem to remember. And living in that tower, protected by royal decree since the reign of Charles II, are the ravens. 6 ravens, to be precise. Legend says that if the ravens ever leave the Tower of London, the kingdom will fall. So their wings are clipped. They're fed, they're pampered, they're prisoners, really, kept there against their will to protect an empire. But what if I told you that's not the whole story? What if those 6 ravens you see during the day aren't the only ones? What if, when darkness falls and the tourists go home, other ravens emerge? Older ravens. Birds that have been there longer than any record shows. Ravens that remember things we've tried to forget. Fast forward to the 1920s. The bridge is running smoothly. A jewel in London's crown. But the Metropolitan Police start noticing something odd. Every few months, a tourist goes missing. Always the same profile. Traveling alone, staying at a cheap hostel, no real ties to anyone in the city, the kind of person whose absences might not be noticed for days. They'd find their belongings, their hotel rooms undisturbed, like they just popped out for a walk. But the person? Gone. Vanished into the London fog. The cases would go cold. Filed away. Another tragic mystery in a city full of them. But one detective, Inspector William Blackwood, he saw the pattern. Every single disappearance happened within 3 blocks of Tower Bridge. Every single one occurred between midnight and 4 a.m. And here's the kicker, several witnesses mentioned seeing flocks of ravens in the area that night. Big ones. Moving together with an intelligence that made their skin crawl. Blackwood started investigating. He talked to the bridge workers, the night watchmen, the sailors who moored nearby, and he kept hearing the same story, whispered like a curse. Don't walk the bridge alone after dark. The ravens are feeding. Feeding? Feeding on what? Blackwood became obsessed. He'd stake out the bridge at night, watching, waiting. His colleagues thought he'd lost it. His wife begged him to let it go. But he couldn't. He'd seen too much, knew too much. Then, on a cold November night in 1927, Inspector William Blackwood went to Tower Bridge at midnight. He told his sergeant he'd found something, evidence that would blow the whole thing wide open. He was never seen again. The official report says he probably fell into the Thames. Accidental death, case closed. But his notebook was found wedged in a storm drain 3 days later. Most of it was waterlogged, illegible. But the last page, the last thing he ever wrote, was crystal clear. They're not just ravens, they're not just birds. They're collecting. There's something down there. Something that feeds, something that's been feeding since the bridge was built. God help us all. Now you might be thinking this is all ancient history. Victorian superstitions mixed with police incompetence, right? Missing persons cases that have mundane explanations? Let me bring you into the 21st century. 2019. A travel blogger named Sarah O'Connor from Dublin decides to do a midnight photo shoot at Tower Bridge. She's got her camera, her tripod. She's going for that moody, empty London aesthetic. She's live streaming the whole thing on Instagram. Her followers watch as she sets up her shot. The bridge is empty. The lights are reflecting off the water. It's perfect. Then, about 15 minutes in, she goes quiet. Someone in the comments asks if she's okay. She responds, voice shaky, "Do you guys see that? The birds?" The camera pans. For just a moment, her followers see them. Dozens of ravens, perched on the bridge railings, the towers, the lampposts. Just sitting there, watching her, their eyes catching the light like tiny mirrors. Sarah laughs nervously. That's weird, right? That's really weird. Then the ravens move. All at once, not flying away, flying toward her. The camera shakes. There's a scream. The live stream cuts to static. Sarah O'Connor's phone was found the next morning on the pedestrian walkway, still recording. 6 hours of footage showing nothing but an empty bridge. But her audio? Oh, the audio continued. For 3 of those hours you can hear her voice. Distant. Echoing. Screaming for help from somewhere that sounds like it's underground. The police investigated. They searched the bridge top to bottom. Nothing. No body. No blood. No signs of struggle. Just another missing person. Just another mystery. But here's what they didn't release to the public. The bridge's security cameras showed something impossible. They showed Sarah walking toward the South Tower. Then, as the ravens descended around her, the cameras glitched. Static. When the feed came back 30 seconds later, she was gone. And standing in her place, just for a moment before they flew away, was a circle of ravens, watching the camera. Like they knew it was there. After Sarah's disappearance went viral, urban explorers and paranormal investigators started sniffing around. Most of them treated it like a game, a creepy story to tell their YouTube subscribers. But a few actually found something. There's a group called the London Underground Project. They explore the hidden spaces beneath the city. The old plague pits, the abandoned tube stations, the Victorian sewers. These people know London's underworld better than anyone. In 2021, they managed to access one of the maintenance chambers beneath Tower Bridge. These rooms aren't open to the public. They're where the hydraulic machinery used to operate the bascule bridge is housed. Dark, cramped, reeking of oil and Thames water. They set up their cameras. They documented everything. And deep in one of the subchambers, behind a wall that looked like it had been bricked up and rebuilt multiple times over the decades, they found a door. An old door, not Victorian old, medieval old. Oak and iron. The kind of door that should not exist in a bridge built in 1894. They couldn't open it. The lock was corroded shut. But through the gaps in the frame, their cameras picked up something. A space beyond. And in that space, they heard sounds. Scratching. Shuffling. And breathing. Heavy, wet breathing that definitely didn't come from birds. They posted their footage online. 3 million views in 2 days. Then the video was taken down. Copyright claim from the City of London Corporation. Their backup files? Corrupted. The only copy that survived was a low-quality screen recording someone made before the purge. The London Underground Project disbanded shortly after. When pressed, the founder would only say, "Some doors are locked for a reason. Some things should stay buried." So what's really going on? What's behind that door? What are the ravens protecting, or serving, or feeding? Here's the theory that makes the most sense, if anything about this makes sense. When Tower Bridge was built, they dug deep into the riverbed, deeper than they probably should have. And they found something. An old chamber. Pre-Roman, maybe Celtic, maybe older than that. A ritual site. a place where ancient Londoners made offerings to something that lived in the river. The engineers, they should have stopped, should have filled it in. But they didn't. They built around it, incorporated it into the bridge's foundation. Maybe they thought it was just an archaeological curiosity. Maybe they were under pressure to finish on time and under budget. Or maybe they knew exactly what they were doing. Because whatever was down there, it was hungry. And it had been hungry for a very long time. The ravens, they're not the villains here. They're intermediaries, servants of something far older than the tower, older than London itself. Every night, they're compelled to leave their perches and fulfill an ancient bargain, bring the offering, feed the thing beneath, and in exchange, the kingdom doesn't fall, London stands. The Thames flows. Life goes on. One life for a city of millions. One tourist, one traveler, one soul that won't be missed. That's the toll. That's the price. That's why the bridge still stands, while other Victorian structures have crumbled. It's not engineering. It's sacrifice. So here we are. The truth laid bare. And you're probably thinking this is just a story. Just entertainment. Just another urban legend to file away with Bloody Mary and Slender Man. But let me ask you something. Have you noticed how there are never any homeless people sleeping under Tower Bridge? How even the most desperate won't set up camp there? How the local teenagers, no matter how drunk or rebellious, won't dare each other to walk across it at midnight? The people who live here know. They've always known. And if you ever find yourself in London, walking along the Thames as the sun sets and the streetlights flicker on, and you hear the sound of wings above you, heavy and deliberate, and you look up to see ravens circling, their eyes fixed on you with an intelligence that no bird should possess, don't go to the bridge. Don't follow the sound. Don't let curiosity win. Because the thing beneath Tower Bridge, it's still hungry. It's always hungry. And the ravens, they're always watching. Always waiting. Always ready to guide the next offering down into the dark. Sleep well, London. Your city stands on bones and bargains. And the toll must always be paid.